Our videos are not some promo or some advertisement. They're real stories happening in our schools. They show how teachers are designing learning spaces and providing the resources, mentoring, and support the students need to discover their voice, their passions, and explore personal interest. When you look at these videos, you're going to see examples of modern instructional design, inclusive practices, and communication for partnership and engagement. It's a journey that we're going to continue to just keep improving. And that is important to tell the community, to tell the parents, to tell our story so that people know the amazing things we're doing.
Somehow there's this magic happening where a love of reading is truly flourishing. Even with kids who previously loved reading, their love of reading is growing and deepening, and kids who've struggled, I think, are starting to find their way and really feel empowered as readers.
I was on the team that observed this reading workshop program before we started. When I saw those kids so into their stories and so into their books, and how the teacher was able then to meet with the other children and have these great conversations, it was just like peaceful. And it felt like you would want, as a reader, it to feel.
We definitely start with a mini lesson at the beginning where we come together and I share a skill that we will be working on, and then we practice a little bit all together at the front carpet.
The mini lesson is so important. The kids get to see you model the strategy. So thinking about moving into nonfiction, if I'm doing a mini lesson on main idea and detail, I can choose a nonfiction book connected to science, connected to social studies, and talk about main idea and detail, the strategy. They see it, we talk about it, and then they can then use those strategies in their own reading. When Jen came in to model that for us, it was another way to think about like how our kids learn, because you can hear it, you can think about it, you can read it, but until you see something done for you in front of you, okay, now I can see the complete picture. And I think that's how the kids are. We need to model it for them. They need to see it in order to know, like, okay, well, this is what's expected, and now I'm going to do it myself.
The goal for this year was we had to build a robot. There are a lot of robots now that are helping move toxic waste, so the blocks were like toxic waste, and we had to build a robot to move them to a safe zone. The process we went through was, first we had to build the car, then we had to add some motors, and we first wanted to build a cage, but that didn't work, so then we wanted to do moving arms, but that also didn't work, so we eventually decided on a bulldozer. The value of making mistakes is you can learn from them, and when you make a mistake, you can always make it better. Our strengths were we were really good at building things, and we had a pretty big imagination for designs, and if something did go wrong, we could take stuff apart easily. The value of working in a group is that you all have your own ideas, and then you can put them together to get a better design than if you were to just think of a design alone.
I'm Hajun Huang, an 8th grade tuba player, and with great support of Mr. Eifert, I am conducting a piece called The Beach Boys.
We started a tradition maybe 10 years ago that the band would play with a student director. 2/3 of the rehearsal time. And that required him to study the score.
You have to know everything, so you can teach them how the music goes. Like if you don't know how the music, you can't teach them, then the practice, like rehearsal, won't go well. So first I go home, I look at the score, I listen to music like 4 to 5 times, I study the score, and when I go there, I try my best to listen to the band, and I'm trying to think of what I like about, like what I don't like, what needs to be louder, what needs to be softer, the articulation has to be important, and like how we sound together, that's the most important.
My coaching was how to go about communicating with students when you're another student. You want to have a cooperative kind of relationship. Hey, we're doing this together. Here's what I think we should do in this measure. Let's give it a try. We talk all the time about being lifelong learners, and we want to train kids to be self-directed learners. And this is a perfect situation for one student, but all 50 of the 8th grade band members are in this together with him because I'm out of the picture. And they're all different ability levels. So they all feel, I think they feel a responsibility toward taking care of their own stuff so that when they come together as a group, every one of them, I hope, walks away feeling as if they played a really positive contribution toward the finished product.
Well, like I want to major in music because music personally is really fun. Like playing the instrument is really fun. I would love to be a director.
So I just want to give them as many opportunities as I can.
I'm still finding out what my strengths and weaknesses are as I'm writing.
Workshop is not specific to academic level or achievement level or whether you like to write or you don't like to write, because every time we implement anything, it's always about writing about themselves because they own it.
My favorite part's my original draft because I put all my ideas into there.
During the conferring stage, they'll look at their text and they'll say to themselves, what's something that I need to improve on? And then what are some things that I know that I'm really great at? And they write those things on the Post-it note and then it's put on the desk. That allows me as the teacher to walk around and group them by strengths and then any kind of concerns or, hey, I want to work on this.
We did peer editing once we finished our essays. We had to fill out a sheet which was different things like, did you have the facts in your essay? Did you have good structure? Did you have punctuation? Did you have figurative language? And we had to check off, did they have it? Did they not have it, or were they starting to? Someone else may have some extra important details that I could use to make it potentially better. We took that sheet and then started editing our own essays to make it more interesting and have all that structure and figurative language that really makes it interesting and fun to read. Wait, weaknesses are actually good for you because you know what you're struggling in. So it's like, oh, I'm not good at that. Maybe I could improve that or work on that.
I'm done with my writing and I'm good. Now they have, well, what are my strengths? Well, if one of your strengths happens to be a good lead and you know how to, hook the reader in, well, there might be somebody else who feels like they need some extra help on that.
I'm good at coming up with fun titles that make sense and introductions that really pull you into the essay or the piece of text.
So they're up and they're moving. So not only am I teaching, they're teaching. And so that I think is what is the most exciting thing, is it's ongoing.
Some of my friends are having trouble writing a topic, and so I read their introduction, what they had so far, so I could determine what they're going to talk about. And so let's say they were going to talk about shoes or something, you could incorporate maybe a soul joke.
When I'm conferring with them individually, the other students are still working on their writing.
I'll just keep on going through it until I personally feel that it's good and I feel confident about it. Like, even our teacher said, I don't want you to turn in something that you don't feel confident about.
And in the beginning, I had one student who would not want anything to do with her buddies, and building peer relationships were very difficult. However, with a few more times of meeting with the buddies, she was running, she was laughing, she was playing chase. She just completely blossomed and opened up, and her buddies were so patient, and they really gave her the time and the space to let her go at her own pace. And I think giving my student that opportunity to build such a beautiful relationship really shows that she can do this. Peer relationships are fun. Having friends are really great. I think the buddy class really made a huge difference for her.
We started the buddy program with Mrs. Lee's early childhood class this winter.
And we just fell in love with it and we ran with it. When their buddies walk in, they're completely mesmerized. It's like having a brother or a sister inside the classroom. They're role models, and a lot of times they are able to reach them in a way that adults almost can't, because kids are so magical. They're down on the floor playing with them. They're like, here, let me show you how to do this. They model those skills. They model functional play. They model problem-solving skills.
And just working collaboratively with others, and how you take turns, and how you share, and how you let everyone have a voice and choice, and how decisions are made.
And it's just all wrapped up in this awesome package of a big kid. There's so much joy on both sides.
When we first went and met with buddies, we started with reading. I had my students practice reading them in fluent voices.
Gone outside and we've played games of soccer. We've done duck, duck, goose, parachute games. The older buddies sometimes come up with their own games, or they come up with games with their younger buddies, modeling that how to develop a group plan and collaborate. And they kind of just go with it. And I just take a step back and just provide an opportunity and a space and some materials, and I kind of just let them run with it wherever their imagination takes them, as long as it's safe.
This year we have an amazing group of students who have taken this opportunity to try something new. Half of these kids have never been in a production before, and so it's pretty amazing to see how they are flourishing in this new opportunity. I think it's really important for kids to have a different outlet to kind of express themselves, to be creative, enjoy exploring different parts of a character, and being able to understand like why a character would act a certain way, why they would say certain things, and being able to kind of match the emotions with the actions, with just like the quietness on the stage, and make it really purposeful. It makes kids more thoughtful about why they do things, and it's a fun way for them to kind of explore new parts of themselves and discover that they have talents that they didn't know that they had. This year, the students will be performing Trouble in Paradise Junction, which is a comedy based off of a perfect world that turns awry.
For $5 million.
Aha! So you admit it!
Sure, I admit it.
What you see here are the kids going over a new part of the script, a new scene, and trying to figure out how they want to portray the characters.
student-led conference is basically a parent-teacher conference, except a student comes with and they explain all the work that's like in their portfolio, and they're the one who's talking to their parents, not the teacher. Alright, thank you guys for coming. I hope you enjoy the work that I've done over this trimester. The first subject I'm going to be going over is science.
It's very sophisticated what we're asking them to do as elementary school students, to sit and first of all lead a meeting and lead discussion.
Best part about this is that we get to show our parents the main projects we've been doing on Seesaw and like taking photos of and videos. We get to show them what we've learned from that unit.
So I like the fact that he gets to tell us his story and shows us what he's learned in class. So that's the thing that I'm most proud of.
Now here, it was basically fractional parts of a set like I told you. So 9/11ths of 22 would be 18.
It shows that he has the in-depth knowledge of what he's learning, and he's ready to go on to the next level for sure.
So in the student-led conference helps prove to them that when we say you're in charge of your learning and you have authority over your own learning, we're really backing that up when we say, all right, you are important at conferences. Your voice is the most important. You are not only at this conference, but you are the leader of it, because we make a team and you are the captain of this team. We are the ones who support you.
I feel like if I talk about what I'm actually learning to other people, it might help me with my learning.
Part of the required agenda topics is setting a goal and saying, here's something I'm not yet good at.
We do goal setting to see like what we can work on the next trimester.
Whatever it is, this is an area that I could be better at. This is an area of something that I don't know and I'd like to learn it or learn how to do it. Wherever you're at is not a place to sit and rest and stay. We're always looking for growth. We want that growth mindset to try and feel inspired by the idea that there's always something more to go to and you're never finished.
As a school are having a day of service learning.
I think it's a great opportunity for us to give back to our community.
You look at Portrait of a Graduate and Global Citizen is one of the things on there.
It's about reaching the kids and making sure they understand where do they fit at AJHS and how do they then impact the world.
Because I know some people probably think, oh, we're kids, we're students, we can't do much, but that's not true. We can make a difference.
They can start impacting the world now. They just need the tools to do it.
I want the kids to realize that they have an opportunity to change something if they're unhappy with it. So if you're tired of pollution, start by cleaning up the local park.
When Craig was coming up with the idea, he really wanted a menu of opportunities for the students to pick from, so that on their last day, they'd be able to do service learning, but in something they were interested in.
I contacted about 50 organizations asking if we can help. The 15 that got back to us, I put together a small description of what the organization does and what they would be doing.
We ranked them, which ones we wanted to do.
Every student was able to find something that they could connect with and say, oh, this fits with, how I see something happening in the world.
I got put in the JDRF group. I think it's a great opportunity because I'm a diabetic. Seeing that people are making cards and kind of saying like, hey, it's okay, you're gonna get through it.
And the staff's been great. Staff members have stepped up and taken leadership roles.
The art teacher, Miss Brody, is running the JDRF card making stuff. So I'm in art this quarter, so it's kind of nice knowing someone going into like a teacher as a project.
Being able to hook up teachers and staff and students that aren't necessarily already fully connected just helps us grow the AJHS community even further.
I want the kids to step away saying we had fun and we made a difference, and that's my end game. That's what I'm hoping for.
All these different service projects have, meaning for the organizations that we're going out to help, whether it's for 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours. Some of these kids are going to find those organizations and want to do it again and tell their parents and their friends in their neighborhood and their little brothers or their older sisters. I mean, the ripple effect could be tremendous.
Family book club is probably one of my favorite things that I do. I choose a book and I plan a program of activities to go with the book. Tonight, we're reading the book Zoe and Sassafras, Dragons and Marshmallows, where the girl solves problems using the scientific method. The author of the book, Asia Citro, has also written a book of science activities that children can do at home. And tonight at book club, we will be doing 6 of the science experiments that were presented in her book. A couple of my experiments that we're doing are design challenges. Some children will be designing a boat out of foil. Another wonderful design project is they're going to be making straw planes and then fly it through the air. Well, depending on the size of the circle, the placement of the circle, the length of the straw, these straw planes might fly different ways. So tonight I have 6 junior high students, former Tripp graduates, that will be helping out. It's absolutely wonderful to see these kids come back and be the big kid helpers. I always say, to run your own book club, all you need are 3 things. You need good books, good food, and good friends. And that's what we have. It is a wonderful opportunity when children get to witness their parents doing some learning, when they have a shared experience with a book and then learning something new together.